had something bigger, we could actually cut through the cardboard, and maybe even go into the soil if you had a tree or something, and then we plant out from there. So on top of the compost, the really, really important layer, and what we do have, is mulch. What is mulch?
Like wood chips.
Wood chips, shredded up organic material, generally. When I'm saying organic matter or organic material, what does that mean?
Natural stuff.
Natural.
Those once living.
Things that were once living, yeah, that's a pretty good way to phrase it. So this mulch layer, I think Jeff, I'm guessing Jeff, I don't know what you call him, but went and got a whole bunch of mulch from Kapa'a Quarry in Kailua, over on Dump Road. And so we're going to put this mulch in a layer that's about in, we're going to have 4 to 6 inches of mulch. And so what's this layer of mulch going to do? Buddy? Yeah?
Decompose into the soil.
It's going to decompose into the soil, that's right. And so what else is going to happen? What's going to happen? Who's ever been in a forest?
We live in forest.
I live in
What's on the floor of a forest? The floor of the forest is bare soil?
No.
Compost.
The leaves. It's all the leaves. It's technically called the detritus layer. Detritus just being, stuff that's casted off.
Hey, where'd Andrew
So
go?
that layer of
I don't know.
mulch, or detritus, or
Maybe
leaf
to look
litter,
for you.
it's on the soil,
Maybe to look for
is
you.
slowly
I don't
breaking
know.
down and feeding and turning into compost and feeding our soil. And what's it keeping in? Nutrients. What else? How about moisture? Good thinking. So, if we've got this nice thick layer of mulch, instead of the sun hitting bare soil, which in the tropics, where we are, is generally not a good thing. We really have thin soils, because we have so much rain and so much other strong sun exposure. If there's exposed soil, it can kill the soil. It creates a habitat that's not good for those microorganisms. But by mulching on top of it, we're going to ensure that there's going to be moisture, and it's going to be cooler in temperature, and it's also going to be darker, which means it's more hospitable for microorganisms to live. So, I tore a ligament in my finger, so you guys are probably going to have to do most of the work. So, does anybody have any questions about this? Completely understood. Alright, good question for you then. What element is the mulch principally composed of?
Starting organic.
That's not an element.
That's compost.
Not so much potassium. Potassium,
Nitrogen?
phosphorus, and potassium are main plant nutrients. Maybe we'll toy with that.
Yeah.
Any other guesses? The building block of life.
Carbon.
Carbon, that's right. The mulch is high in carbon. We refer to it as a carbonaceous material. So essentially when you're making compost,
Where do you want this? I'm just going to start bringing the dumplings, and you guys can spread it. You get a couple loads in there.
yeah. Well, we got to start with all that stuff first. Yeah.
What if
We still gotta choose
I
where we're
just
gonna
built
put
a
it.
pile, and you guys
You could build a
scoop
pile.
from it?
I was thinking after about a minute, we're going to go identify exactly where it is.
Okay, that's fine.
And I have pitchforks in my truck that'll make it easier to load them. So
Well, I'm going to dump you're doing it here or down there?
that's what we're about to determine.
Okay.
So, for compost, if you want to make compost, you need a mixture of, guess which two elements?
Nitrogen? Phosphorus?
Carbon.
Carbon?
Nitrogen.
Nitrogen. Oh, that's
The
pretty
end.
neat. So the carbon is going to be the layer, it's like a carbon filter.
Nitrocarbon.
You guys ever drank from a Brita water filter? That's activated charcoal, which is essentially just carbon. And so that carbonaceous layer is going to keep in any of the smells from the chicken manure from coming up. It's going to get stopped. So we're using all these natural systems and natural materials to pretty much do everything we want to have happen. And it'll work even after we put it in place. So now we got to figure out where we want to put our garden.